everybody. Welcome back to the Routine Podcast.
Gymnastics Conversations.
I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Chelsea's mom, Diana.
And we're back for episode 74.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, Mom.
We just came from dinner together. It was a very nice dinner.
It was non-gymnastics related. It was just mother-daughter related.
Right? We don't do that enough.
I feel like we do sometimes. But we are officially halfway through the season. It's week 6 of NCAA Gym.
No way.
Insane, right?
It's like we were just saying as they've just started their season.
I know.
Things that they're going to work on because they just started the season.
Right. So you know what that means?
It means Nationals is close.
Wow. The excitement in your face, Mom, is unmatched.
I'm glad nobody can see that.
But that means we got to start thinking about what we're going to start doing for Nationals. I'm excited.
I know, but you've been excited, before season started, so.
I'm excited about the possibilities because I know this year is going to be bigger than ever. It's at a new arena. More of our listeners are going to be there. It's just, I'm excited.
When you say bigger than ever, I mean, that's like.
It is.
Why?
How much you want to bet that this is going to be the most people that have ever attended NCAA Gym Nationals before?
But why do you think that?
Because of all of the growth that we've seen in the sport.
Because of our podcast.
Oh, snap. Okay, Mom.
That's why it will be bigger than ever.
I know, right? NCAA, cut us a check.
The Routine Podcast.
But yeah, so wow. I'm excited for Nationals.
Good. Keep being excited for us, daughter.
But first we need to get through the rest of the season.
First, we need to get through this particular episode.
I know, right?
Let me just say, this particular episode.
What? I have no idea what you're going to say. Oh, gosh.
It's giving me, like, anxiety because I've got notes in front of me.
You never have notes.
No, look at this, Chelsea. I've got like 2 pages of notes that I've taken.
Wow, you're coming after Kathy Johnson-Clark.
Because again, Chelsea and I weren't with each other this weekend. And so she said on Friday night, make sure you watch the meets, Mom. And so, I've learned, I do watch the meets, but when I don't take any notes, I have no idea what I've watched or what I'm going to say. So in this particular case, I've taken all these notes. So I'm a little nervous about today's episode.
Don't be nervous, Mom. I got you. Okay, so I think we should just hop right into our listener comments.
I'll put my notes away for now.
Okay. We got a nice little email from my aunt, your sister, about her experience with us at the Florida LSU meet. She said, "Hi, Chelsea. This is your aunt. I really enjoyed traveling with you and my sister to see the LSU Florida meet. It was thrilling to be a part of a sold-out crowd. The energy in the arena was electrifying. I must embarrassingly admit, I only thought basketball games could generate that much excitement in an arena. So to all of those who have never experienced up close and personal the fearlessness, concentration, and athleticism that is required to compete as a gymnast at this level, ... Add it to your bucket list."
She really did have a good time with us.
Yeah, and we did not ask her to leave that comment. She did that willingly on her own, so thank you.
And we also got an email from Kelsey Will 19. Kelsey says, "I love the episodes so far this season, but I think Minnesota deserves more time." I think she means more love than it has received on the podcast so far. Thank you for all of your work.
I think generally speaking, Minnesota has been very good this season. Lexi Ramler got 2 10-0s in consecutive weekends on balance beam. I will say I'm excited because Minnesota this weekend will be competing against University of Nebraska, and that's going to be on the Big Ten Network. So I'm excited to watch that meet live this weekend. And then we also got a lot of emails this week through our comment form.
Yeah, I think it gives people the opportunity to leave a longer comment for us to consider. But I also think it also allows a little bit more privacy than I think Twitter does, which I think can sometimes be helpful too. One of the comments we got was from a mother. I won't get into specifics, but she had the chance to listen to the episode that we did with Dr. Dave Tilley, where we really talked about our experience from your club gymnastics days. And she was just very appreciative of our honesty and just what we lived through. So, we shared information back and forth, which hopefully was helpful. And again, when we talked about starting this podcast, one of the things we were most interested in is sharing our story. And if our story helped anyone, gymnast or parent, that's what we wanted to do. And so that was a really good email exchange. But again, I think to your point, we are getting a lot of new comments. I think this new website allows that interaction in a much more positive way than our previous website.
Yeah, so that Dave Tilley episode is, again, one of the episodes that we have received the most comments on any of our episodes ever. And so it's episode 60, and if you're a parent of a gymnast and you are just looking for advice or looking to relate to another parent gymnast experience in the sport, I would highly recommend that episode. Or even if you're just a gymnast yourself, I think that episode is very interesting.
And can I also add, Chelsea, we actually got more subscribers this week too.
We did.
Right. So those who have decided to be a member of our podcast, again, thank you very much. Actually, when Chelsea and I had dinner tonight, we were really talking about what additional things we can do on our new subscriber page.
Ooh, I think that should be actually our listener question for today. What do you guys want us to cover at Nationals that we don't already do?
Oh, that's good.
So for those new listeners, usually at Nationals we do a 3-day back-to-back-to-back episode. So we recap each meet the day after. So it's really like a 12-hour turnaround time from the time that the meet is over real time to the time that we upload the new episode about that meet. I'm sure we're probably going to do the same thing this year. We just probably want to take it to the next level because Mom and I never settle for less.
No, and what's so funny is as I'm watching Chelsea, you're not able to see her, but I'm watching Chelsea talk about this, and she's getting psyched about Nationals and the teams competing, right?
Oh,
she's
yeah.
just like getting so excited. And I'm getting excited about, we're going to do some video vignettes. We're going to talk to the people who clean the seats and, cook the food.
But I'm sure Nationals will be fun this year. But let us know, for those of you who aren't able to attend Nationals, what content do you guys want to see from us that you probably miss out on because you're not able to attend yourself?
I think that sounds great.
So the last thing I want to mention before we dive into our meet recaps, which I know you're very eager to talk about, Mom, is the comments that the SEC basketball commentator made. Like, what the heck, dude?
What? I didn't know what happened.
Basically, he said, I want to go see some scantily clad girls when referencing the upcoming Friday Night Heights meets.
No, he did not.
Yeah. And then he also went as far to say that he's going to watch it later when he's in his hotel room. Like, first of all, that's so misogynistic, clearly. But that's so disrespectful to the sport of gymnastics.
I wonder if he's still employed.
Yeah, so that's kind of, at the time that we're recording this, I think a lot of people, not just the Gymternet, are saying, like, yo, he should not be working. But the SEC network says that they're investigating, looking into it, whatever that means. But hopefully there are some type of repercussions for his comments.
Hey guys, it's me, Kayla Williams, Meet Director for Elevate the Stage. I'm excited to share details with you about Elevate the Stage in 2020. This year we will be in Toledo, Ohio and Birmingham, Alabama. In Toledo, we will see a lot of you guys competing on the podium for a chance to qualify to the Nasty Aliukin Cup. After you're done competing, make sure you get your tickets to see all of the Big Ten teams compete on Friday, February 21st, and Saturday, February 22nd. In Birmingham, Alabama, we will be hosting a collegiate competition that we know and love, Alabama versus Auburn. We will also host almost 1,600 youth gymnasts from all over the country. To get tickets and for more information, visit elevatethestage.com. I can't wait to see you at Elevate the Stage in 2020.
So, can we start recapping the meets?
Yes. Can I go first before I forget all the things I'm supposed to say?
Please go first.
Okay, I'm going to save Georgia and Arkansas so that we can do that together. But I'm going to talk about the meet that you did not see, that I saw, which was NC State, and they competed against Pitt.
Okay.
And it was a very good meet.
I heard the scoring was a little bit questionable, but I'll let you continue.
I want to talk about 3 gymnasts specifically. Drew Grantham. Check this out. Drew got a 9.95 on beam, and it looked every ounce of a 9.95. And then she got a 9.9 on floor. So she was fun to watch as a senior, but then conversely, there was a freshman, Chloe DeGreat, which she did on beam was a 9.925 as a freshman on beam. Beautiful, beautiful gymnast. On floor, she got a 9.875. On vault, she got a 9.8. But Chelsea, if you get the chance, I recommend that you YouTube her. I think you'll find that she's just really a beautiful gymnast. And then lastly, there was Casey Nelson. She's a junior on the team, and she had a really, really pretty floor routine. Long story short, NC State won the meet.
Interesting. It's funny you say that because the scores that I heard were a little bit wonky were NC State on beam. But I'll have to check it out for myself and decide what I think.
Check it out. I think even if the scores weren't, rooting harder for the home team, from a skill level, the teams were pretty big difference apart in terms of competitiveness. I think it still would have been a pretty tough climb for Pitt.
Yeah. Okay, so the other meets, I did not watch, actually, Florida, Iowa State, and Denver, but Trinity got her second 10 this weekend, this time on beam.
Oh, she got it on beam.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Maddie Carr, who we actually interviewed last year, right before Nationals, got her 10 on vault, and it was a beautiful vault.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I love watching her compete anyway.
I know. She just looks so happy.
Yeah, and she's a senior this year, right?
She is, which is also very sad.
But she got a 10 on vault as a senior.
Yeah, and Lindsey Brown got a 39.7 in the all-around.
Wow. So Denver's kicking butt again this year, huh?
Yeah.
Can I go to my Road to Nationals app and do some stats on Denver?
Uh-oh.
Well, it was that interview that we did with Jason and Mary. And when Jason was talking about this website, of course I went on it again. And it's just such a good website. Okay, so here's information about Denver. Denver is 5th in the country. 5th on bars, 5th on beam, 6th on vault, and 13th on floor, which surprises me, actually. I think they would score higher on floor with both Maddie and Lindsay. All right, so let's just see. Oklahoma, as we know, is number 1 with an average of 197.78. But here's interesting. Florida is 2 with 197.65. Utah is 3rd in the country. UCLA is 4th. 197.05, and then Denver is number 5. Wow. Guess who's 6, Charles?
Give me a hint.
Starts with the letter A.
Alabama.
Alabama is 6 in the country.
Yeah, that actually doesn't surprise me. Okay, so can I talk about my favorite meet of the weekend?
Sure.
Cal versus Utah. And that meet had me on the edge of my seat. If you have the chance to go back and watch that meet, I highly, highly recommend it. It was one of Cal's best meets of the season. They've been fairly inconsistent throughout the season so far, but this was really the first time that they put all 4 events together. What was like the show-stopping performance was Utah's beam rotation. They ended on beam. And going into the 4th rotation, both teams were tied.
No way.
Yeah. Utah actually ended up having their second highest beam score in program history. And I think it was like a 49.65 or something around there. But they absolutely crushed beam.
Ian, you had no idea that this meet was going to be that close, right?
No, not at all. And like I was just kind of like flipping. I was like, oh, this meet is on. I guess I'll watch it. And that was my first time really watching Cal this year. And like they are filled with so many talented, artistically beautiful gymnasts. The one that stands out to me just off the top of my head is Kiana George. She's an all-arounder. And her confidence is just like oozes through her. But also Milan is a beautiful gymnast. The choreography with all of the gymnasts is beautiful. I really hope that they can make it to nationals this year so that we can watch them in person.
Well, they're number 10 in the country in climbing, so.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they're without Tony Ann. So everyone was kind of like, okay, like Tony Ann is kind of like the meat of the team. What is the team going to be like without her? And I mean, again, they've been fairly inconsistent, but I think that meet showed their potential. It was 197.325 to 197.55. And again, going into the fourth rotation, the teams were tied. Utah ended up gaining 0.2 on Cal on beam, which is just so remarkable for them.
Utah on beam.
Exactly. And Utah has struggled the past couple of seasons on beam. That has definitely been their weakest event. So to see them absolutely hit it out of the park, which is so awesome to see. So congrats to Utah.
So last meet to talk about, I'm pulling my notes. Can we do Georgia and Arkansas and Sabrina Vega?
And that was another nail-biter meet.
It was.
I knew it was going to be close, but I definitely did not think it was going to be that close.
You know, I just never know who's going to show up for Georgia, so that's why you just don't know. But they showed up this time.
Yeah. And so did Arkansas. Arkansas at home, I think everything that Jordan is bringing to this program has just been all positive things and has really helped the gymnasts be more confident and just enjoy performing in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, don't you wonder, because I sat there and watched her and watched Courtney, obviously, and don't you wonder what these former Olympians say and share to the gymnast that makes all the difference? You know, what is Jordan saying in like 3 months of training that make these gymnasts perform so much differently than they did 6 weeks before she arrived?
I don't know. It's the secret sauce. We'll probably never know.
It really is. And, you know, it's not just on floor, which obviously we talked about in a previous episode, but it's also on bars and beam, too.
Yeah. I was thinking, I wonder what the two of them say to each other, knowing that they're kind of this new breed of women's college gymnastics coaches. What is the exchange between Jordan Weber and Courtney Kupets-Carter, either before the meet, after the meet, during the meet?
You know what my guess is, and of course I could be wrong. I don't think they're saying a whole lot to each other. And the reason is because, yes, they're two Olympians, but their years apart are pretty dramatically different in terms of when Courtney competed in the Olympics and when Jordan did. But you know what I bet is more so what's happening, especially at the level that both of these gymnasts competed at, is competition.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you, as a former gymnast, know you are always a competitor.
Yeah.
And, you know, Courtney is not wanting this new head coach to beat her, and Jordan is not wanting this coach to beat her in her home gym. Yeah. So I'm thinking it's more about the competition at that point. But I'm just guessing.
No, yeah, I think you're right. And that meet, I think you can see it in everybody's face. Like, everybody knew how close it was, and everyone was just trying their absolute hardest to win. And it was such a good meet to watch.
It really was. It really was. So can we just do highlights real quick?
Can I guess yours?
Well, I'm going to talk about Sabrina Vega, but not quite yet.
Well, yeah, I wasn't even going to say her.
Okay, who are you going to say?
Every time I see this gymnast, I think of you.
Who?
Jessica Yamzon.
Absolutely. Right here on my paper. She's the lead off on every single event, has been the lead off since she was a freshman, every single event, all around gymnast every time.
Yeah, I don't think she gets enough credit.
She doesn't. She doesn't get paid enough.
Right? And she just acts like it's no big deal. Like, all right, I could do another one for you guys.
Every single time. Yeah. But I also had on my list Rachel Lucas from Georgia. I can't wait to watch her in another 2-3 years.
And I think, actually, if you compare her double twisting Yurchenko to Kaya Johnson's, I think Rachel's gets a little bit more distance, but I really like her technique.
But then we also have to throw in her double layout on floor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does that.
She does. So that's why I have Rachel Lucas, and she competed on beam this week too. And then lastly, I just want to mention, before Sabrina Vega, of course, is Marissa Oakley. Watching Marissa on bars, she's so gorgeous.
She is very beautiful.
So that was Georgia. And then my notes here on the Arkansas side, I have Kennedy Hambrick.
She is a really talented gymnast, and she's pretty consistent this year too. But an Arkansas gymnast, for me, is Bailey Lovett. She's a redshirt freshman, but she makes everything look so easy. And I think she's just a great addition to the team for sure.
So the final score of that meet was Georgia 196.75, Arkansas 196.95.
Woo.
Very close meet, very fun meet to watch, and I think the rivalry continues.
I don't even think there was a rivalry.
There will be now.
I know, yeah. It's starting. It's brewing.
Exactly. Hey, so not bad with my notes, huh?
Not bad. I'm very impressed. It takes a lot to take the time to watch and actually write stuff down. So kudos to you, Mom.
Thank you. Just don't get used to it, babe. It was a little stressful for me.
So can we talk about today's interview?
Oh, I'd love to.
So this actually takes us back. When we were in Florida, we actually got the chance to sit down with Jeremy James Miranda, the choreographer for the University of Florida. And we thought it was important to interview Jeremy because, especially in the last couple of years, his choreography game has just been unmatched. So we wanted to get inside the brain, the choreography brain of Jeremy James Miranda.
We are joined with Jeremy Miranda. Jeremy is part of the University of Florida team. Do we go by Jeremy James?
I do. Sometimes I do. Well, it's different. Gymnastics, I guess I usually just say Jeremy Miranda, but stage, there's a few Jeremy Mirandas, and so I usually go Jeremy James Miranda for my stage career when I was performing.
So you know that just gets me into so many questions already. So we're going to get to the gymnastics part in a minute, although obviously that's why we're here, but the stage part. Talk to us about the stage part.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Actually, for me, gymnastics was first. So I was a gymnast first and foremost and didn't think anything of performing or the stage, dancing, acting, singing, none of that. Until college. So I was a really late bloomer, they would say. Most dancers start, they're young, just like in gymnastics. But I didn't start until college to get really serious about studying dance and training dance, and had an amazing time here at the University of Florida under some great tutelage. And
Tell us again how you got started. Were you it was a class that you took, or there was a friend? How did you decide to even start?
First, with gymnastics, I was always taking the mattress off my mom's bed and tumbling, and just, Mom was like, we need to find some way to get rid of all this excess energy. So I started gymnastics when I was 7 years old. And that just got better and better, and enjoyed that ride. And I actually went to the University of Nebraska, and that's where I had met up with Adrian Burdett. He was the assistant coach at Nebraska at the time. And so I was there from 2005 to 2007. And in 2006, he got the assistant coaching job here at the University of Florida. And so at the time, they were needing some choreography changes and such. And so he spoke up to Rhonda about me, and I said, oh, wow, this is crazy. I'd love to interview for this position. And so I was brought on staff as a volunteer assistant coach in 2007.
And at that point, are you doing choreography, or?
I was doing choreography. So I was a student at the University of Nebraska for 2 years, left school, quit school. My parents are freaking out.
Of
like,
course.
what are you doing?
'Cause, you know, when you said that it was my first thought.
Of course. All the, they're like, you've got to get your degree. What are you doing? This is crazy. So yeah, it was scary for a little while, but thankfully all those credit hours transferred over and I was able to enroll here at the University of Florida, and I actually finished my degree in dance performance here. So it worked out beautifully.
Parents began to breathe.
Well, not really, because a dance degree, what do you do with that?
Well, that's true too. That's a different set of worries.
Exactly. But I mean, we brought in professional choreographers at the gym that I trained at, and so I would watch the choreographer work with our athletes, and I had no dance training, really, none, but I could remember sequence. And that was the thing, is when the choreographer would leave, they didn't have all the technology that we have nowadays where we can just video with our iPhones and we've got it. Back then you'd have to lug around the VHS recorder, tripod and the whole thing. And so we rarely would record. But the choreographer would leave and the girls wouldn't remember their choreo. And here I'm over on high bar and I'd just come running over and I'm like, this is how you do it. This was the combination. And they're like, how do you know this? This is so weird. And so, I got the opportunity to choreograph for the University of Nebraska for 2 seasons, which was amazing, under the direction of Dan Kendig. He's been such an inspiration to me and a lot of coaches. There's a huge pipeline of talent that has come from Nebraska.
So I guess one of the things when we knew we were going to be doing the interview, one of the questions that came to me was the decisions that have to be made to design choreography, the music, the individual. But talk to us about how you start packaging all that and at what points are happening along the way.
Definitely. So typically here at the University of Florida, we would start that process. Well, I'm always in that process where I'm constantly hearing music on the radio, listening for ideas, doing research on the athletes, going back to their JO routines, their club routines, even back in, level 7, level 8, their first few optional routines.
You're going back and
looking at footage and seeing what works movement-wise, what their personality's like, what kind of qualities are going to highlight their abilities. And typically when a season ends in April, we start rapidly that music process I usually have a list of 10, 15 songs for each athlete.
Wow.
They themselves have plenty of input as well. They usually have a good idea. Being college students, they know, they feel like they've got a good idea what they want. But sometimes not, sometimes they'll have no idea and they'll just say, what do you think? What do you think I should do? And Jenny Rowland also has ideas as well. So it's like there's 3 cooks in the kitchen, really, that all kind of come together. And in most years, this year was different, but in most years, we only have the month of May to put together all the music. Because by the time June, July, which is when the girls come back for Summer B, that's when we start to design the floor routines.
Wow.
We schedule a 3-hour session for each athlete and choreograph it. So
one 3-hour session?
Each girl gets 1 3-hour session.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we have to have all the music done well in advance of that. We can't be, sitting down to a choreo session and not have the music ready. This year was a little bit different after the way that things ended in April for us. We thought that we really just needed to detach from the sport, give the girls some time away. That space was important.
I think,
and so
I can see that.
Yeah, so
I needed that space too.
Oh, yes, agreed.
Just so we know.
Definitely.
I think a lot of people needed that space.
Yes. And so we took all summer to work on music, which was a blessing and a curse because I think Megan Skaggs had 6 different final pieces of music. And then 2 weeks later, she'd be like, no, but I like this. Let's try this cut, So it kind of gave us a little bit too much time maybe to sit on it. But we took all summer to work on music. And then we didn't start finalizing music until the beginning of September, like official practice time.
Wow.
And then we didn't choreograph until the last 2 weekends of September.
And are you getting nervous this whole time, by the way?
Yes. My heart is just pounding out of my chest at this point because just thinking about the girls only having the material for 3 months before the first meet is like when they're used to having it 6-7 months where they can really sit it in their bodies and gel with it, become one with it.
Right.
So that was a little bit of an anxiety attack for me, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
It may not be politically correct, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite floor routine?
Oof, yeah.
I know.
That's
I was going to say you can do more than one, but let's try one first. A favorite.
I think it was just more the experience with each of the athletes. Like the creative process is so personal and so vulnerable. You kind of open yourself up to the other person because you have to be in a safe space where you can just throw out ideas and be goofy and take a risk. Bridget Sloan was so good at that. The sessions never went 3 hours. It literally we'd be done in an hour and a half. And we just had the best time. We would be laughing, joking, doing weird army crawls on the floor. Like, what about this? You know, we were just hands, you know, and I really appreciated that. And there's several girls on the team this year that have that same quality where we just play. It's just a form of play. So I loved that process. In terms of finished results, Kennedy Baker's performances were just electric. I mean, she just knew the ins and outs of every single move. Alicia Bourne was that way too, but she took time to get there.
Right.
Kennedy was like that as a freshman.
Well,
she was just, as soon as she got here, she knew what she wanted to do and how she wanted to say it, and she did it. And so both of those athletes, I mean, just incredible. Alicia's was different. It took her a few years to get out of her shell. Yeah. And if you go back and look at her freshman year routine compared to her senior year routine, it's night and day. You wouldn't even think it's the same athlete.
Yeah.
So,
I bet, you know, Alicia's, and I've talked about this in the podcast, her routine last year.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Right?
So good. And you know what? We changed it. We had it all done, all finished in June, July. I can't remember when we finalized her routine. But when I came back in like September-ish, things just weren't working. There was a single ladies section in there, and it just felt a little stale. Like it had been done before. It just didn't build the way that it needed to build. And so we revamped the music, revamped the choreography, and I'm so glad we did because she really just sold it. It was amazing.
And what happens when there's a piece in there, like you said, there's a stale part, but the athlete says, oh, but this is my favorite. I really, really like this.
Usually what I say goes.
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, it's all about the approach, you know, and if you can say, I feel like you're going to lose the crowd, you're going to lose the judges, if you can go at it from that type of explanation rather than I just don't like it. These girls are so amazing. They want to do well. They want to perform well. They want the crowd to be involved and engaged. They want the scores, you know? And so if you approach it from that perspective, they're very willing, very cooperative, and want to do the best that they possibly can.
Sure.
Yeah.
And talk to us about how you feel when they perform it for their very first time in front of the crowd for the first time.
In front of the crowd, they've gotten so much better. You know, when I first got here in 2007, not having a choreographer on staff for the entire time, you're not comfortable really with what you're doing, and so the performance value isn't there. So it took a while for them to buy into that process and get acclimated to being big and over the top and the facial expressions and all of that. So it's so exhilarating to finally see that, but knowing that it's a living, breathing organism. Like, it's constantly changing. From when they very first learn it to when they very first perform it to the end of season, there's always a massive transformation.
Sure.
I enjoyed that process, seeing that whole lineage of change rather than just one particular viewing of it.
Sure. When we started the interview, we mentioned that it's Jeremy James, Miranda, when it's on the stage.
On the stage.
So we got to know more about you and what you do on the stage. Talk to us beyond choreography. What's
so
happening?
Actually, new changes all around, actually. So the last 10 years, I was in New York City, based in New York, and so I would just come in for a couple of weeks at a time, work with the girls. My goal was always to travel for a couple of home meets and then all of postseason, so SECs, regionals, and nationals. I was doing Broadway-style shows up in New York City, so Cats, Chorus Line, Mary Poppins, Mame, Hello Dolly. So I had an amazing time up there.
It's New York Broadway, for goodness sake, right?
Yeah, it was amazing. So, and then I also was doing a lot of work with cruise line companies. Holland America, Norwegian, Disney Cruise Line. And Disney reached out last year, actually, at Nationals and asked if I would be interested in a full-time position at Walt Disney World in Orlando. And so last summer, I started that position, and it's just been incredible working with the equity shows at Walt Disney World.
Wow,
so,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's really, really it's worked out beautifully because my family, for the most part, is all in Florida. The Gators are in Florida. I can get up to Gainesville. It's an hour and 20-minute drive if the traffic is good. and be with them on the weekends. So it's worked out really, really well. I'm so thankful.
So what are those parents thinking about that dance degree now?
I think they're pretty proud.
They should be.
Yeah.
Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it, and we can't wait to see your work.
That's right.
With the gymnast out there.
Awesome. Go Gators.
We could have talked to Jeremy a lot longer. There was so much that he shared with us. I think one of the things that I found most interesting was what the team was going through after losing regionals and how it took a minute, really, for the team to kind of regroup and refocus. And I think the Florida team that we're seeing compete now really is a result of what happened at regionals and the strength that they've brought to bear to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
And I think him sharing that everybody on the coaching staff knew that everyone needed just a break from the sport says a lot. Because I think it's important, especially as leaders of a team, to recognize when to just take a step back.
So thank you, Jeremy, for talking with us and sharing your story. It was a great story and a fun story to listen to.
So, moving into week 7 of women's college gymnastics. I feel like some of the intense meets have been out of the way, so now we're getting some okay matchups, but it's still good to see some of these teams in action. So this weekend, Florida will be at Auburn. I don't know if you know this, Mom, but currently the University of Florida is undefeated in the SEC.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I'm actually excited 2 weekends from now when Alabama will be at the University of Florida. That should be a really good meet. Another meet that I'm looking forward to, now that you mentioned NC State and how I should watch them, UNH, UNC, and NC State will all be competing together. And Arizona will be at the University of Washington.
And then closer to home, we've got Rutgers. They're competing here at home against the University of Maryland. So, Chelsea, I don't know what you're doing next weekend, but maybe that's a plan. And then, of course, there's Nebraska versus Minnesota.
I'm just thinking about all of the artistry that will be in that meet. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think it's going to be on the Big Ten Network, so look forward to that. So again, if you all want to keep up to date with the college gymnastics schedule, you can view it all on College Gym News. College Gym News is your one-stop shop for all things college gymnastics. For event coverage, leotard rankings, in-depth features, fantasy gymnastics resources, and more, visit collegegymnews.com.
And if you're interested in supporting CGN's expanding coverage, visit collegegymnews.com/donate. College Gym News, all the college gymnastics news you want, all in one place.
So another weekend in the books, Mom, and I'm excited to continue this college gymnastics journey with you.
Thanks for having dinner with me tonight. That was very nice of you.
That was fun. Maybe we'll get some better food next time.
My pizza was pretty nasty.
Yeah. Guys, don't have Uno. Uno pizza is not.
Oh, no, we can't. That might be a sponsor one day.
Oh, never mind. Eat all the Uno you want.
Just don't order the deep dish with goat cheese and veggies and ham.
My question is, who orders deep dish pizza with goat cheese? What?
Well, clearly I shouldn't have.
Yeah. Maybe go back to the drawing board with that one.
We'll pick another restaurant next time.
Well, I hope you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Chelsea.
Goodbye.